Yeah, Nazis are pretty f***ing gay.
Yeah.
Lady in the Trans podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science. Science will solve all the problems. That's the trans agenda.
Trans people in science come save the day.
Solve the problems with us. With science. Science, bitch.
Science and my trans agenda. I'm returning trans.
Hi,
Hello.
and welcome
Welcome
to Lady in the Trans podcast.
That's this one.
That's this one.
That's the one we're doing.
It's the one we're doing that you're watching.
the Lady in the Trans podcast.
The Lady in the Trans podcast.
Because it's a podcast about ladies and trans shit.
Yeah, and that's the only thing.
That is, I mean, and a lot of other stuff.
And a lot of other stuff.
We're focusing.
We are.
So, in the name of focusing up, today we're talking about intersex people.
Yes.
Or the
intersex
concept of intersex as it pertains to nature, as it is a natural thing.
people. And I am very excited for this subject.
Pourquoi?
I made a video about it on TikTok asking intersex people to just kind of chime in the comments and tell me their experience. And it was pretty much crickets. I got like one person. And I feel like it's something that isn't very much talked about in society at all. And we kind of try to pretend intersex people don't exist. There's another girl I follow on TikTok who is intersex that I found like maybe a month ago. And just the syndrome that she has is fascinating. Her story's kind of fucked up, how she was treated as a child and how they tried to just kind of force her into one category.
Yeah.
And it's, you know.
You're going to hear some more of that. There's plenty of that going
I
around.
found the topic fascinating. I want to learn more about it. And I'm excited because I know you did a lot of research for this episode.
I
so.
did do a lot of research for this episode. So, one of the first things I discovered was, so you know how there's like transgender and there's also cisgender?
Yes.
So do you know what the non-intersex term is for people who are not intersex?
No, I don't actually know that.
Right? I don't think anybody does.
What? There's a term
There
for that?
is.
We don't know shit about fuck. That's crazy.
Yeah. So you're either intersex or you are endosex.
Okay, endosex.
So if you are not intersex, you are endosex. In the same way, if you are not transgender, you are cisgender. Which some people think is a slur for some reason because they don't know what words mean, which is fine. Endosex is the new slur.
So stupid. There's this turf that like was on, she was debating this guy a couple of years ago that I follow. And she thinks turf is a slur.
It's an acronym.
I'm like, if you're offended by it, it means a bad thing because you're a bad thing doing a bad thing. So I don't know if the shoe fits, wear it, I guess, bitch. You're a turf. Like,
exactly. Yeah, and the other thing that comes up on literally every science page, every medical page, every biology page is that it's a fully natural thing that occurs completely naturally in every animal kingdom that exists in this particular type of sex binary.
yes, intersex people have always been around.
It is also an umbrella term, meaning that it applies to like a lot of different things. Like I think a lot of people, when they think of intersex, think only of the one thing, which is like, you're born with both.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what most people think of.
What most people think of, yeah.
But that's less than 3% of intersex people.
Yeah, because there's, like 40 different types or 30?
There are more than 40 types of intersex that have been identified.
That we know of, and you know they haven't been researching this.
I was gonna do an episode where I just broke down each one of them, and I was like, that would take forever. So it's better to just talk about them as a whole in a group as intersex people. I'll go over a couple of them because they broadly break them down into 3 categories. Mm-hmm. And then 40 of them exist in one of those categories. 2 of the categories are just like one type that I think are common enough that they count as their own categories. It's something like 1 in every 2,000 people has a visual component to their genital variation.
That's actually more common than I was expecting. 1 in 2,000?
1 in every 2,000 people have a visual component.
Wow.
It's estimated that 17 out of every 1,000 people are intersex, or approximately 1.7% of the population.
That's more common than trans people, right?
It is almost twice as common as trans, as far as we know. But I also think that the rates of trans are closer to that.
Overlap.
And
yeah.
part of what I'm realizing in doing this research is trans people might just all be intersex.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I know there's a lot of overlap with intersex people that are also trans, which would make sense because when an intersex person is born, we don't know that much about it because as soon as like somebody's baby is intersex, they're like, cut one of the things off. What'd you name it? Jake? All right, we're going to get rid of its ovaries. Like, that's how we freaking treat it. And then nobody tells the kid.
Yeah. The first time I ever learned about this, I was like 11 or 10 years old, and one of my cousins was born with both. Was one of the very, very, very small percentage, the 0.05% of the population that is born with both. And they just decided that he was going to be a boy, and they performed surgery, sealed up the other part, took out some stuff, and were like, yeah, we're just going to say you're a boy and you've always been a boy, and that's what it is.
It's crazy how so many people are always freaking out about like, oh, trans people, they're trying to indoctrinate the kids and make them get all these surgeries. When trans kids aren't getting surgeries, that's incredibly rare, and it's never bottom surgery. Also, when intersex kids are born, they're literally doing surgeries on them as a baby when they can't even talk
non-consensual
or form a coherent
surgery.
thought.
Yes.
It's insane, the hypocrisy. It's insane.
Yeah.
But it's not about saving kids, it's about putting people into a little box. You're either male or female. That's all you are. We don't talk about it. Shut up. Do what you're told. Like, it's so stupid.
That's how society was set up. That's how patriarchy works. Like, you have to pick a side. You're either in the class with the power or you're in the servant class. Those are the only options for you. And so when somebody breaks that, they're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
We better just pick for the person. It's crazy. So the term intersex applies to variation in reproductive organs, sexual anatomy, chromosomal patterns, or hormone imbalances. All of that is covered in the intersex umbrella.
Even hormone imbalances.
Yes. If it's a stark type of hormone imbalance, it counts as being intersex.
Oh, I'm so excited for this episode. It's mostly because like we were talking about it. We think I might be intersex. It would explain a lot of things.
It sure could.
Wow.
And the vast majority of people who are intersex have no idea that they're intersex until it's like forced upon them to find out. The most common way that most people have found out that they're intersex is because they're professional athletes and they get their hormones tested, because now we do that for professional athletes, and they find out that like, oh, your T level's too high, or like, oh, your T level's too low, like something weird's going on here. But since they're only testing quote unquote women's sports, you're more likely to find out you're intersex if you are assigned female.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like assigned male athletes basically aren't finding out because nobody ever tests their hormones before they go perform.
Which is insane.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. But they're just like, they're like, oh, actually, it turns out you have like fully formed testes just inside of you that are producing a high level of testosterone. And that's why you're... And we're going to blame that for why you're so fast at running or whatever stupid, thing that they believe.
Or you hear stories of people going to get like their appendix out, for example, and the doctors discover like, oh, you have like testes in your body or like whatever,
Yes, that is the other.
It's usually an accident.
Way. Yeah. And back in the day, I'll talk about this now because you're bringing it up, but back in the day, they wouldn't even tell you that they found stuff. So there's this famous case, Christiane Voling is an intersex woman who became the first person to successfully sue for damage when it comes to non-consensual surgery for intersex people. This happened in 2011. She was the first person to ever win a case and get quote-unquote reparations for the damage that was done to her against her will. The story was she was born with ambiguous genitalia. She didn't know what that meant. She didn't even know that it was a thing. She was born in 1959 and was raised male. They never told her that she had been that way. They just decided she was a boy. So they did the surgery. They basically did what they did to my cousin. They sealed off the girl parts, didn't check inside to see what was going on, just told her whole life, you're a boy, you're a boy, you're a
How
boy.
old was she when they did the surgery?
Newborn.
That's insane.
The first surgery. At 14, she needed an appendectomy. She needed her appendix out. While the doctor was in there, he found full female reproductive organs, fully formed ovaries, fallopian tubes, cervix, everything. The only thing that was off was that the vagina did not connect to it, but it was fully formed. It just didn't connect to any opening. It was just like a fully, like, hormones had kicked it off. It was like, theoretically, she could have started having periods. And the doctor, while she was under anesthesia, like, did a chromosome test and found out that she was XX chromosomes. No Y chromosome involved at all. And she was not told this.
Does this person still identify as female, or what do they identify as?
She identifies as female. At a certain point after this stuff happened, I don't know if it was after she found out or if it was at some point in between when the surgery happened and when she got her old medical records that she decided, like, I really feel like I'm more of a... I don't know if she was transgender at any point before that. I know that after she woke up, the doctor was like, hey, so there's some stuff going on inside you. Did not tell her what it was. And was like...
That's so unethical. Holy shit.
Literally lied and made up a different reason why the surgery needed to happen. Said it was a risk to her life. It wasn't. Said it was absolutely necessary and that she was going to have to come back and do this surgery. So she came back in for this surgery that she was told was about, like, testicular tissue, which she didn't even have. She did not have testicular tissue at all. She had a penis and she had ovaries, fallopian tubes, everything else going on. And so they did this surgery, just removed everything, just took out the ovaries, the tubes.
Oh, I'm so glad
the cervix,
she sued and won.
Took out everything,
Fuck
told
that
her
doctor.
everything's great. This is in the year 1977 that this happened. She had her non-consensually, non-informed surgery. So she's 18 years old. And then in 2006, she requested her medical records. At this point, she's 47 years old. She requests her medical records. She discovers that she has been diagnosed with XX chromosomes and finds out that the surgery was to remove all of her female organs. She was naturally pissed.
Yeah, I'd be fucking pissed too. Like, what the fuck?
Because they had literally sterilized her.
Yeah.
Like, if she had been informed, she could have had a different
she
surgery.
could have made a choice.
To open up the hole so that everything, you know, the baby could be delivered, or maybe she would have needed a C-section, but she's like, I could have had babies.
Yeah.
Like, I literally could have had my babies. And you removed that possibility.
Took that choice
you
from
literally
me.
stole the ability because I also don't have testes, so I don't produce sperm. So now I'm fully incapable of having a family of my own.
How much money did she win in the lawsuit?
That's what really upsets me about it is she got 100,000 pounds
That's
or
it?
euros, 100,000 euros.
I mean, it's more than 100,000 US dollars, but it's still.
But like,
and depending on when
this
she
this
sued.
is in 2011.
Oh.
Considering she's the first person to ever successfully sue for damages, like, this is sort of setting the precedent.
Yeah.
2006 is when she found out about the surgeries.
Good God.
And when she found out she had been sterilized against her will when she was 18 years old.
That is so fucking awful.
Yes, and this is a very common story. Most people don't get to sue about it, or the ones who have didn't win. So this is, again, within the last 14 years.
How do they not win something like that?
I know.
That's the most unethical medical shit I've ever
I know.
heard. Lying to somebody about a procedure while they're under anesthesia, saying, I did this procedure without your knowledge, even that on its own is unethical.
Yeah.
But to also do that and then lie about what you did, and people have sued about this before and lost. How?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's weird because the intersex thing, people are so obsessed with gender binaries that the idea of intersex people freaks people out. It's like, oh no, your kid is both. What do? We got to make sure it's one of them. Yeah. Like, just let the kid be a kid. And then when they hit puberty, if they're feeling figure it out.
And the other thing is, like, according to the modern definition of transgender, she's a transgender woman, but also she's not because she was a woman the whole time.
Yeah.
But like she was assigned male at birth and was raised male,
Even though she wasn't male.
and literally later on discovered she was a woman and decided that she would rather be that, and so technically transitioned. But she specifically has said, like, I don't identify as transgender. That's like, it doesn't apply to me. It's not what I am. But like, also by the definition of transgender, you know, you don't align with your birth sex. That's what she is.
Yeah.
So like
Technically.
there's so much crossover with intersex and transgender. It's crazy. So I've learned so much because I don't know my chromosomes.
Yeah, me either. Who the fuck knows their chromosome?
For all I know, I'm XX chromosomes too.
Yeah.
You know, for all I know, I have one of these 42 conditions, you know, and like I've actually been like what science would consider a woman the whole time, and just didn't know that, and that's why it never aligned with me, or why I never felt like a man, or any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, it kind of makes me want to get tested, but I also, with today's climate, I feel like that would be a risk to have that sort of thing like on the record.
Well, based on that executive order Trump put out, everyone's female. So,
That's
like, it's stupid to begin with. But also,
Yeah.
if you were XX, you could just be like, I am literally XX chromosomes.
That's
Fuck
true.
you.
It would be way easier to be like, I'm not even trans. Like, I'm just a woman.
I've told you before to, like, gaslight people if anybody ever, like, clocks you and just be like, I have PCOS. How dare you? It's embarrassing. Look it up. Because they probably don't know what that fucking is. Especially not dudes. They don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
And they don't even know what a trans person looks like half the time. Like,
So that's a pretty common story here in the United States. There are other common practices for intersex people in other countries. I read about this woman in Kenya. Her name is Zainab, and she was a midwife. She specifically, the article was titled "The Midwife Who Saved Intersex Babies," because in Kenya, it is a common practice where if a baby is born intersex, you kill it immediately.
what the fuck?
You literally put it to death immediately. They have a euphemism in their language called breaking the sweet potato, which means get a hard potato and smash its skull in. It's like, it's such a common practice that they have a term for it. If they say, oh yeah, we broke the sweet potato, you know they murdered a baby.
Is this a practice that's practiced
It
today?
is
That's sick and
still a
fucked up.
common practice today. They believe that intersex babies are a curse that is being placed upon them by the gods. So this midwife, she delivered an intersex baby, and the father was like, oh, grab the sweet potato. It's time to kill it.
I would have been like, bro, I'm gonna grab the sweet potato and sweet potato your ass. The fuck? That's crazy.
Yes.
That's insane.
And something inside her was like, that's wrong.
Yeah, it is.
Against all of culture and the way she was raised. And she was like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And she just adopted the baby.
Oh, good.
She took the baby as her own.
Good.
Brought it home. Told her husband, this is our new baby.
Yeah, we
And he
got an
was like,
intersex
"What?"
kid now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you about it. This is a thing.
He hated her for it.
Well, he can suck a dick.
He was like, why would you bring this curse on our family? Like, if he had a bad day, like fishing,
Divorce.
He would say, the baby cursed me.
Divorce right away.
2 years later, she delivered another intersex baby. This time, there was no father present. The mother,
Thank God.
the mother just saw that the baby was intersex and fled and never came back and just abandoned the baby with the midwife.
What the fuck?
And so she adopted this baby too. She brought the baby home. And at this point, like, her husband's he's like, I absolutely do not want a double curse. This is ridiculous. You have to get rid of these babies. I'll do it myself right now. Like, I'll kill them.
Well, if you have two of them, it cancels out the curse, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, too soon. I don't know.
A curse and an uncurse. And so she heard him out. She heard him out, and then she was like, I'm leaving you. And so
Good,
she
good.
she divorced him,
That's a bad bitch right there.
moved
Fuck
to
yeah.
another place. She set up her own life. She
Good.
still does midwifing. She's raising the kids as her own. At this point, the oldest is probably 13 years old, and the youngest would be 11 years old. But they also have a practice where she hasn't gendered the babies, or maybe she has at this point, but the kids are allowed to choose for themselves, which they are. Like, they don't have any surgical intervention because they don't have any practices around it, because the practice is just murder them immediately. So
Yeah.
now that she's not doing that, she's sort of establishing what the new normal is for how to treat an
amazing.
intersex baby.
God bless her. I hope she finds $100 every month on the ground somewhere, and the temperature in her room is always perfect at night, so she could get a good night's
She's
rest.
always on the cold side of the pillow.
That is a wonderful human being.
She truly. She still does midwifing a little bit, but she mostly makes her living like selling clothes and sandals.
Oh, wait. So, does she have like a website where you can buy her stuff to support, or like?
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
We should find it and link it for YouTube.
I'd be happy to look it up.
And-
I didn't look it up when I was doing the research.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like intersex people largely globally, especially the ones who have some sort of visual difference, these practices are everywhere. You either do non-consensual surgery or you kill the baby immediately. Those are like the go-to, like the
unhinged.
standard treatment for intersex people.
And it's because we are so obsessed with patriarchy and people fitting neatly into one of two boxes
Yes.
that will go out of our way to do something unethical, like perform a surgery on a newborn baby
Yeah.
that they can't consent to, or
Just
kill
murder
the
a baby.
That's
Just literally
fresh
murder.
out the womb. Oh, sorry, the baby didn't even ask to be here. The baby's just like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
This wasn't my idea. Why are we taking it out on me? I hate people. I hate people so much. Our world sucks.
Yep.
Wow.
In 2013, there was the third International Intersex Forum. They met up in Malta and they delivered the Malta Declaration, which was basically just like a demand for the world for the type of intersex rights that intersex people would like.
Okay.
And the Malta Declaration since then has gone on to be cited by like the United Nations, human rights organizations globally. Like,
How recent was this?
so the declaration was in 2013.
Okay.
And then I guess I didn't write the year that Europe's Commissioner for Human Rights or the Asian Pacific Forum for the National Human Rights Institute cited it, but it became like a big enough thing that global world governments have been sort of checking in on it. Like, these are things we've simply never considered before. And now as we write laws and we continue to move forward in the world, like this is where we're going to look if we're trying to include intersex people.
Yeah.
And they have 17 points. And the thing about these 17 points is if these 17 points were actually enacted, trans people would have equality.
What are the 17 points?
When I read the Malta Declaration, I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I should literally stop fighting for trans rights and start fighting for intersex rights.
Because it's just,
Because trans people simply fall into the intersex umbrella, whether we like it or not.
yeah.
And if these rights pass for intersex people, they will just apply to
to
us.
trans people. Oh, what are they? I want to know what they are.
Firstly, they wanted to affirm the existence of intersex people. Second, they wanted to demand an end to discrimination against intersex people. Third, they wanted to demand bodily integrity, physical autonomy, and self-determination. Which already, like, if that is a human right,
Then it also applies
Well,
to trans folks, yeah.
trans people are fully accepted. Fourth, they wanted to call for an end to pre-implantation genetic diagnostics.
Pre-implantation genetic diagnostics. What is that?
That is when someone's getting in vitro. And before they plant the embryo, they do a genetic test to see if it's going to have like Down syndrome or if it might be intersex. And there's like a list of things on that. They're like, if it has these things, we're not going to implant it. We're going to grab another embryo. We're going to toss this one. So like,
That's eugenics.
it's literally eugenics, you guys. It's literally eugenics.
It's eugenics.
They've simply decided which people are allowed to exist. And if it would be a certain person, they cancel the person. That's pre-abortion abortion.
And for them to do that with specific, because intersex people, there's nothing, they don't have a disability. They don't, you know what I mean? Why are you throwing those embryos out? It's not even like you would have a baby that would be a really big responsibility. Like, I'm not saying they should do it with Down syndrome kids either. If you're going to have a Down syndrome kid, you know, like
Plenty of
either
great Down syndrome people out there. It's not like your life doesn't have value if you have a disability.
Yeah, my best friend Shelby has a Down syndrome older sister, and she's a joy. She's hilarious. She's funny on accident all the time. And she's always in a good mood too. She's a sweetheart. Fun. Just back on the eugenics thing.
I love eugenics. Let's talk about it.
When Shelby's older sister was going to be born, they found out at some point in her mom's pregnancy, like, oh, this kid is going to be born with Down syndrome. And the doctors asked if she wanted to terminate the pregnancy because of that. Gave that an option. So women are murdering babies and they're not allowed to choose if they simply don't want to be a mother. But if it's a baby's going to have Down syndrome, it's like, oh, let's encourage them to. It's so hypocritical. It's
incredibly, yeah.
And her mom was like, no, like, I would love a kid with Down. I don't care. I'm halfway through this pregnancy. I'm having this fucking kid. I don't care if my kid has Down syndrome. Like, you know what I mean?
That's another thing that the Intersex Forum called for, was an end to selective abortion, which is when they do a prenatal screening of either implanted or unimplanted embryo and decide to terminate the pregnancy based on whatever disabilities it may end up having. So the intersex people have already incorporated rights for Down syndrome people, trans people, intersex people, anyone who might be on a eugenics list. If this right passes, if people start taking this seriously, that's an end.
Covers everybody.
It covers everybody. They've called for an end to infanticide and murders, because that is a huge problem still to this day in a lot of parts of the world, especially developing nations. They wanted to demand the depathologization of intersex as a disease or a disorder, because it is currently classified as both in most places.
As a disease and a disorder?
It is most places, and in the United States, it's a disorder.
It doesn't even affect your everyday. You just have
Literally.
whatever it is.
It has no impact on your actual life.
People go their whole lives intersex without even knowing.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect them. Why would you? Wow.
Yeah, and even if the issue is like, well, you can't have babies, like there's plenty of endosex people who can't have babies.
Exactly.
And it's like, would you say that they
have a disease?
They don't deserve to live?
Your ovaries don't work. You have a disease.
Right, exactly.
What the fuck? If I get my tubes tied, does that mean I have a disease now? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Humans suck. Sorry. It just makes me so mad. Who the fuck is running everything? Idiots.
It's a great question.
Idiots. Oh, stupid.
So in a lot of places in the world, if an intersex baby is born, if they're not going to do a non-consensual surgery on the baby, they will classify them as intersex on their gender or sex marker on the birth certificate. So one of the things they've called for is to register intersex babies as either female or male, and accept that they may grow and identify differently.
Okay, that would
That's what I'm saying.
that would solve
That's what I'm
all
saying.
of the problems trans people have in
That's
childhood.
what I'm saying.
Damn, bitch, I'm so glad we're doing this episode.
I know. If it's written into law that you have to accept that the birth gender might change.
I'm gonna make so many TikToks about this.
That's what I'm saying,
Bitch, this is amazing.
Yes. So the next thing is they've called to ensure that sex or gender classifications are amendable worldwide, because in a lot of countries you can't change it, and in a lot of countries you can, but it's very difficult. So they want a law passed that like you can just change it and it's not hard, and you can just like fill out a form and it's changed.
Okay,
Regardless of diagnosis of gender dysphoria or whatever.
I think it's strange that we have our gender listed and race listed on what. Who cares? Who fucking cares?
A lot of people are also that it wasn't part of the declaration, but a lot of intersex people are saying like literally just abolish it. Like we don't need that on our IDs.
It's stupid. Why does someone have to, like, when they're checking for my birthday to make sure I can get into a bar, why do they need to know?
JK, it's literally the next thing on the declaration. So they called for an end to race, gender, and sex as categories on birth certificates and IDs.
Fuck yeah.
Race, gender, and sex simply shouldn't be listed on ID documents.
Yeah, for a really long time, whenever I'd fill out those forms when you're getting a job or whatever, and it asks for your gender and race, you can always say, like, decline to answer, and I would always do it, because I'm like, why do you need to know if I'm a girl or if I'm white?
For real.
It's stupid.
Yeah. They wanted to raise awareness of intersex issues and rights. They wanted to create safe and celebratory places for intersex people. That could be like intersex holidays, intersex
Why don't we have an
places.
Do we have an intersex thing in the LGBTQ?
We in the LGBTQ?
Yeah.
IA.
Oh, the I is
The
for
I is
intersex.
for intersex.
I don't know what I thought that stood
Yeah.
for.
LGBTQIA.
Yeah.
And I literally yesterday saw somebody post, hey, so the I isn't a silent letter, just reminding everyone of that. Like, there's a reason it's there, and it absolutely should be there. LGBTQIA.
And then there's the plus. We could have
And
our
then
own
there's-
streaming service. We
Yes.
should. It would be better than whatever we got
Honestly,
going on.
we should. At one point, I came up with a clever name for it. This was like
Don't say
6
your
years
business
ago.
ideas on our podcast
I'm
so
not
people
going
won't
to.
steal
I'm
them.
not going to.
You
And
have
if
good
I did, I
ideas.
would cut it out. But I came. Oh man, I can't remember it now. It was back when I was with they who must not be named. And actually, to answer your question, we do have 2 intersex holidays that began within the last 20 years, both of them. Intersex Awareness Day started in 2003, and it's on October 26th,
All the good holidays are the birth month, my birth month.
which
yeah.
by the time this comes out was a couple weeks ago, but as we're recording it is 2 days from now.
Oh,
Literally
that's
Two-
so cool.
in 2 days.
And we
It's-
just decided to do this
we
episode.
literally, yeah, Intersex Awareness Day.
This feels like it was meant to be.
It definitely was. Yeah. And then November 8th, which is closer to when this will be released, is the Intersex Day of Remembrance, which highlights issues and remembers all of those who are lost and those who were never known because people are murdered immediately. Yeah, those are the only 2 that I was able to find. Intersex Awareness Day, October 26th, Intersex Day of Remembrance, November 8th.
Well, we got to get it out by November 8th.
Honestly, yeah, it'll be out the day before.
That's perfect.
This is coming out November 7th.
Bitch, isn't this crazy how this all like kind of came together?
Hey everyone, Intersex Day of Remembrance is
Yeah,
tomorrow.
happy
If
Intersex
you listen
Day of
to this
Remembrance.
on release day, don't forget to buy your merch.
Yeah, people will probably remember it if they watch the episode because I didn't know that was a
Honestly,
holiday
yeah.
until right now.
Literally,
So
I've probably seen a post about it randomly and scrolled past it because, this is doing this research is the first time I really considered all the unique challenges intersex people are facing.
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's funny. I just want to say it's funny how because you're saying if we fight for intersex rights, automatically trans people get it. It's the same idea with women's rights for cis women that are TERFs. I'm just you're literally working against yourself right now.
Yeah.
Because if trans
If you
people
allow
have
them to block medication, then you're allowing them to block yours next.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're keeping
It shouldn't
trans
be
misogyny
legal.
alive, which keeps misogyny alive. You're also agreeing with all of these sexist gender roles and ideas about women, because usually a lot of transphobia is directed towards trans women specifically.
That's a specific brand. That's trans misogyny.
Yes.
Yep.
And it can happen to trans men too, once they're outed to a transphobe
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
usually applies to trans women because we hate women so much. It doesn't matter what kind of woman they are, but
Fortunately true.
it's just when you fight for other people's rights, communities that aren't a part of your own, especially if you have a certain level of privilege they don't have, it also helps you gain your own rights, and it helps bring everyone up. I don't know why people don't think that way.
Yeah. I might sneeze.
I felt like
But I might
sneezing
not.
earlier too.
I might not. Okay.
bless you in
no,
advance.
I think it's gone.
Now I have to sneeze. No. No, I don't. Okay.
All right. The 12th point on the Malta Declaration was a call for full access to personal medical records.
Yeah.
Why not? Why isn't that a thing? Why did Christiane Voling need to file paperwork
To get her medical
to get
records
her own medical records that had been
that are
hidden from
literally
her?
about her.
That's what I'm saying. You should have access to your own medical history. It shouldn't just be hidden in the hospitals and in the stupid insurance companies. And then
You should also know what surgeries are being performed on you.
absolutely should. That was what the judge said in that case. Was there is absolutely no way for her to have consented to this procedure because you didn't tell her what it was.
Was the judge a girl?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, cis dudes know what's up, and it's always shocking to me, but it always makes me happy.
I think judges tend to have the ability to recognize when something is non-consensual.
There's a lot of corruption in our justice system
There
too,
is,
though. There are a lot
I mean,
of corrupt. judges.
There
so-
are. You just have to look at the Supreme Court to see that there's
literally.
literally plenty of corruption going
Yeah.
on. But like in general, I feel like judges are more aware of things than the average cis man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I could be full of shit. Maybe we'll do an episode on judges and I'll find out I'm a
Right?
whole liar.
You're like, you're dumb, Chloe.
I'm so
You don't know what
dumb.
you're talking about.
Why did I have faith in judges? Turns out they're the least woke of us all. They have called for a better training for healthcare workers on how to deal specifically with intersex people because I guess nurses and doctors are incredibly rude and ask way too many invasive questions a lot of the times because they just don't deal with intersex people very often. So they want better training or like a specific intersex training course for
Yeah.
healthcare workers.
To be fair, I feel like everybody should have those conversations because I wouldn't know if we were discussing it. I wouldn't know how to respectfully have a conversation with an intersex person. I would do my best, but like I've never talked to an intersex person about that.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? I learned what endosex was today.
Right.
I was today years old. Like, you know?
Yeah. And it would also depend on which type of intersex. Because
Yeah.
again, there's like 40 types.
And I don't even know all the types. Nobody does.
Nobody does. I would have even written down all the names, but like no one's gonna remember them. Just go to the Wikipedia for intersex.
We'll link
It's-
it.
It'll be linked. They've called for reparations. Fair.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
sense.
especially for those who had non-consensual surgery as babies, which is, you know, it's a small percentage of them, but it is a significant percentage of them.
Yeah.
They've called for anti-discrimination legislation. They have called for to ensure equal rights and citizenship, aka the right to marry and have a family, which a lot of times you can't because if there's
Really?
if there's especially in places that don't allow gay marriage, if your like chromosomes for some reason don't align with your gender, then you can't get married.
So if it's known that you are intersex, there are places where. Do you know what places? Like, can you think?
I
of-
don't have a list, but like November 7th, the day this releases, the Supreme Court is going to decide whether gay marriage is legal here, and if they decide that it's not anymore, here will be a place. Like the United States will be a place where intersex people cannot marry half of the people that they want to, or maybe can't marry at all, especially if their birth certificate says they're intersex as their gender, because then there is no one you're allowed to marry because you have to marry. If they define marriage as between a man and a woman, an intersex person is classified as neither. So they can legally not marry at all.
So stupid. The whole being against equal rights for marriage thing just blows. Why do you care? Mind your fucking business. Shut the fuck up and mind your business. I don't give a shit that
truly
you read the
insane.
Bible.
Yeah.
You don't read the Bible though. Most people that are religious don't read the scripture that they like believe in so hard. Like,
Yep.
no one gives a shit about your religion.
I mean, they do, but
Yeah, well,
no one else.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
No one else
That's the thing.
does.
You have freedom to have your religion.
You can't
don't-
force it upon
you
everyone.
don't have a freedom to impose it on others.
Talk about the queers are shoving shit down people's throats. Look at the fucking Christians in this country right now.
Yeah.
It's always projection. It just pisses me off. It really makes me mad. I had a friend before the election. We got into an argument about, Trump versus Kamala. And at one point I was like, you're literally voting for somebody that wants to take my right away to get married to my girlfriend at the time. I'm not with her anymore, but like, she was like, I don't care about that. I just want to be able to put food on the table for my kids. And I'm like, you dumb bitch. Like the opposite's going to happen if you vote for Trump. I just explained it to you. It's just hatred.
Look, we have a very strong anti-intellectualism movement in the United States. We've had it for like 40 years. It has been pushing, like Reagan basically started it, and basically it encourages the idea of being unintelligent. Like people are discouraged. We've intentionally sabotaged the education system so that kids aren't learning anything that interests them, so that they think learning is boring, so that they don't learn. Like
I used to say all the time, around 5th grade, I stopped caring about school because I have ADHD, got diagnosed with it a few years after that. But like 5th grade is when I stopped giving a shit because I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to make art and do music stuff and all of that. And like, they don't really offer many things like that in public school. They don't.
Yep.
And that's another thing. They don't want us to have artists and creatives because it provokes thought and it makes people feel and it makes people happy. And it makes all other work more
They don't want us
enjoyable.
to be those things, because if we are, then we would fight against the suppression that we are facing.
Yeah.
But whereas if you're accustomed to suppression, then you don't even notice that it's happening, which is what's happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, end rant.
And the last thing that they called for in the Malta Declaration is equal access to sports participation.
Yeah. As they should.
Yeah. So again, if all those things pass, like, they've ensured rights for everyone. Like,
Yeah.
trans people gain every single right we've been pushing for. Cis people gain all those same rights.
Yes.
Queer people gain their rights. Because, like, intersex is this perfect overlap of every key issue of sex, of gender, of sexual identity, of everything that is queer. Like, intersex people, at least there's at least one, there's probably millions that apply to every category of LGBTQIA.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. If we all dropped everything and exclusively fought for intersex rights, we would all have our rights.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we're doing this episode. Holy shit.
So I might literally just stop pushing for trans rights and just start pushing for intersex rights.
people. Yeah.
Because, like, it's something cis people can wrap their minds around a little bit more, because there's a more clear genetic basis for it.
That's what I was going to say too. That's another reason I wanted to know more about intersex people, because people with trans people that maybe aren't intersex, they don't understand it because it's it's partially a psychological thing and we can't explain the physiological thing that is happening. But with intersex people, like, if somebody is born with both, that person exists and this is a thing. You cannot argue against it. You're seeing it with your own eyes. Like, it's like, there are physical things that can be explained that are tangible for, like, common people that are dumb and can't wrap their heads around things. So it's easier to argue and also get them to understand, I feel like.
And intersex people are mentioned in a lot of, like, intersex people are mentioned in the Bible.
Yeah.
Intersex people are mentioned in all of the ancient religious texts.
Mm-hmm. They've always existed, and we've always known about it because it's a thing you can physically find within the body.
Yep. Going all back to Greek mythology, like, they had Hermaphroditus, the god, had.
That's right. That's where that word comes from, which
yes.
it's a slur, right?
So there's a long history of that word. And typically, originally, nowadays it would be considered a slur. It used to just be, like, the scientific definition for someone who was born with both, for the one specific category of intersex people who are born with both parts. Some cultures went so far as to break even hermaphrodite into separate categories. But I'm going to go through the history of it.
I just know when I was a kid, if somebody called somebody that, it was, like, said in a bad way. And then, like, in modern times, I've heard people say it's, like, considered a slur. You call people intersex now. So
yeah,
I don't even know if we're supposed to say it. So I'm just going to not.
Yeah. Well, even, I mean, intersex is even a new term. Mm-hmm. It was originally coined in 1917. And it wasn't until the 1940s that there was a push to replace hermaphrodite with intersex.
Yeah.
And I don't think it started happening until, like, way later.
It's because the H word got dirtied up with hatred enough that people are like, we got to ditch this one and use this word.
The H word, you mean hatred?
No,
I know.
Okay.
I'm making a dumb joke about how they both start with an H.
Yes, they do.
So, yeah, in Greek mythology, there was Hermaphroditus, there was Diophantus of Abe and Chion of Epidaurus, who were both just real life, quote, hermaphrodites. There's the Indian god Ardhanarishvara.
Ardhanarishvara.
Who was the composite god of Shiva and Parvati.
I've heard of Shiva and Parvati.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Shiva and Parvati would fuse into one being called Ardhanarishvara.
Okay.
And that person, like, there's statues of them, and they have both parts of Shiva, parts of Parvati. Then Hippocrates and Galen, who were, like, writers and thinkers, like classical writers and thinkers, both wrote about and thought about sex as a spectrum that had many shades in between man and woman.
Yeah.
So like back in the day, it was very common to think that man and woman were just two ends of a long spectrum with a lot in between.
Everything is a spectrum.
Yes, exactly. Even Augustine, who was a famous Catholic. Have you heard of Augustine, St. Augustine?
Yes, I have. Yes, St. Augustine.
Augustine acknowledged that even though God intended to only make men and women, he had sometimes accidentally made people who had both. And that was in the year 400, roughly. In medieval or early modern Europe and in Roman law and canon law, common law, like back, before modern society, sex was always categorized as three things. It was either male, female, or hermaphrodite. It was like the legal classification definition for gender. From the 12th century to the 17th century, hermaphrodites were able to inherit. They had full laws based on the gendered laws, depending on which traits seemed more dominant. They would basically just decide, like, well, you're going to be a hermaphrodite, but since you seem to be like 60% towards this side, that version of the laws apply to you. If you're 60% male, for all intents and purposes, we're going to consider you male, but also you're not a male, you're a third thing. But also, if you're the eldest in your family and your dad dies, you inherit all of his shit.
Yeah, I wish we would just get rid of the hierarchy of like male and female and men being better, because they're not, first of all, but it's just stupid.
Yeah.
Why are different laws supposed to apply to you because you were born with certain genitals? It's stupid.
It
And they're
literally
so
is
desperate
insane.
to put everyone else into that box. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
So then it was during the Victorian era when they started like really separating the term out, because they had a little more information, and also they were super misogynistic and patriarchal and blah, blah, blah. But during the Victorian era, they split the hermaphrodite into three types. You could be a true hermaphrodite, which had both ovaries and testes. You could be a male pseudo-hermaphrodite, which means that you had testes and also ambiguous other shit going on.
Okay.
Or you could be a female pseudo-hermaphrodite, which meant that you had ovaries and other ambiguous shit going on. So they split it into three categories, and during the Victorian era is when it became a pejorative. This is when it sort of became a slur.
Okay. Is that what pejorative means?
Yes,
I learned a new word.
pejorative means like it's meant to be an insult.
Okay.
If something is used as a pejorative, it is being used to put someone down.
Pejorative. Okay. I'm going to use that.
Yep. So yeah, during the Victorian era, the term hermaphrodite switched from being just a general legal term to actually a judgmental slur-based word.
Yeah.
Then it was in, again, 1917 that the term intersex was first coined. In the 1940s, there was one guy who was like, maybe we should use this instead of hermaphrodite. Maybe intersex is better. And then it took many, many years before the scientific community started doing it, and then even longer until the general population started doing it. Because we still have people who just don't even know that that's a word.
Yeah.
Like,
Intersex sounds more like medically professional and like scientific to me anyways,
Yes, it does.
The other one, I'm not going to say it because it feels wrong, but it sounds like a slur.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I heard it said as
But
a
the
slur.
word came from hermaphroditus.
No, I
the
know
Greek
that.
god.
I think it's just the way people would say that about people when I was a kid. If somebody called somebody that, it was like with hatred and like disgust. Like,
as always, you can thank the Brits.
they did cause a lot of our bullshit.
Yeah, it was, during the Victorian, they basically turned it into a slur. Before
Checks
that,
out.
I don't think anyone really would have been offended by it. But thank you, England, for
ruining making things
everything
offensive
all of the time. In the next episode we record, that's going to come out in 2 parts, we're going to talk about why the Brits literally ruined everything.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's not what the episode is about. It's not like, why Britain ruined everything. We're talking about other shit. But
Well, I thought you were saying we were going to do an episode called that. I'm like, I'm down. That sounds like a fun
I mean,
episode.
one day maybe we will, but like we're going to focus in on specifically indigenous genders and gender representation from around the world. In every single story, it's like everything was fine and nobody had a problem with people of a third gender or a fourth gender until the Brits showed up.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they decided to kill everyone who was a third or fourth gender and exclusively leave everyone else. It's the same story every single time. I've looked at like 4 different countries so far, and in all 4 of them, it was like, yeah, they were in fact worshipped. They had high positions in society. Some of them were like military leaders, and then the Brits showed up and decided to eradicate everyone who wasn't strictly male or female. And now to this day, the hatred for intersex people lives on.
That checks out.
So
yeah.
anyway, fuck England.
Yeah. The Brits pulled up and they were like, you can't have both genitals in it.
What's all this then?
Yeah.
You got both. You got both. How am I supposed to know if I fancy you?
We gotta cut one of them off, fam.
We should probably bake the potato in it.
Have some beans on toast in it.
Where's my bangers and mash? You can't have bangers and mash. Just give me one or the other. This is fucking ridiculous. I can't handle it, can I? Fucking hell.
We can make these jokes. We're white.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yep.
If you're British and you're offended,
I actually
fuck off.
don't think I have any British DNA in me.
Bitch, you're white. There's gotta be like at least 2%
No,
somewhere
I'm
in
like I'm exactly 4 different countries that were oppressed by England.
there. Which countries? What's your makeup?
Ireland,
Oh yeah.
Germany, Slovenia,
Oh yeah.
and Italy.
Oh.
4 countries that ain't got no shit with. They got beef with England, you know.
Well, Germany and Italy both did fascism, so you
They both
get
did do. I look. I'm 50% fascist. That's
yeah.
and I'm
just half.
100% American. So you do the math. I'm 150% fascist, whether I
Yeah,
like it or
right.
not. I don't support this, but genetically speaking,
Yep, it's in the genes.
anyway, everything that America does that's shitty, we learned from England. Fuck them hoes.
Yeah, fuck them hoes.
And then in the 70s and 80s, it was Jewish people who started to push for like acceptance of intersex people. Like the first people to talk about like, should we be treating intersex babies differently were like rabbinic leaders.
Was this pre or post?
This is the
Mustache
1970s and 80s.
Oh, this was post. Yeah.
1970s, 1980s. Rabbinic leaders started to get together and talk about like, how are we treating intersex babies? Should we be doing this differently? Like, should we be performing non-consensual surgeries?
Like, no, duh. It's like it's such a
Because intersex people are talked about in the Talmud, which is basically, it's not the Bible. It's like the other book that like breaks down the laws of being a Jewish person.
like the 10 Commandments.
It's, you could kind of say it's the 10 Commandments. It's like a way, it's like a huge legal document more than it's the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
Because the 10 Commandments is just like a list.
Yeah.
This is like a book that goes into crazy intricate detail about like the laws of being Jewish. Whereas, obviously the Torah is like stories.
Yeah.
The Talmud is like legalese.
Oh, didn't know that.
And the Talmud discusses 2 types of intersex people. I don't know which 2 types. But then, throughout all of the 1900s, there have been various phases of like hormone testing on athletes, which started the discrimination against intersex people in elite sports.
Yeah.
And also frequently, every time somebody has a gender difference or like a hormonal difference or any kind of intersex condition, the world at large just decides they're trans, especially lately.
Yeah.
They're like,
especially
you're
lately.
trans, whether you like it or not. And they're like, fucking no. I've been a woman my whole life. I'm actually a woman. Like, okay, maybe I have like a higher level of testosterone. That doesn't make me a trans person.
crazy
It makes
part
me
is
an intersex person.
The men are allowed to have like anomalies like that,
Yes,
and
they are.
it's
They don't
just,
check at all.
and the whole point of sports is you won the genetic lottery and you're bigger, stronger, and
Yes.
faster than ever. Like
the
that's
genetic
the whole,
lottery and also the financial lottery, because you also probably
usually have to have money
usually-
to play your sport
it's
and
the single
train.
greatest advantage, as we talked about in our trans
Yeah.
women in sports episode.
Yeah. But if I'm like a 6'6" bitch and like real hefty and I could jump real high or whatever.
You should play basketball.
Yeah,
or
like,
volleyball
but that's
or-
just a genetic thing. Like, not everyone can do that. Like, you could train really hard and like get good at basketball if you want, but like that person is going to have an easier time, and people are going to want to see them play that sport. It's just sports were never fair in the first place.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically the general sort of history of how it started and where we're at now. Do you know what the intersex flag looks like?
I don't actually.
When you look at it, you might tell me I'm wrong about the colors, but I feel like I'm right because it's a plain yellow flag with a big blue circle.
Okay.
And the people who designed it said that the complete circle is supposed to symbolize wholeness and completeness.
I'm gonna have to check the colors for you because I don't trust your blind ass judgment.
Because
Chloe is colorblind. If you didn't catch that,
see all the colors.
You
but
can
I
only see
can
blue
see
and yellow.
and blue, which is why I'm pretty sure it's yellow and blue.
Sometimes you see other colors
but
as
it
blue and
could
yellow, though,
be
because
some variation of other thing that I'm just perceiving as yellow and blue.
Yeah.
But I think it's yellow and blue.
Okay, well, we're gonna look at it later.
90% confident that it's yellow and blue.
Watch, it's like orange and purple or something.
I'd be so upset. I'll put text on the screen if I fucked it up.
The only time I find it acceptable to be ableist is when I make fun of you for being colorblind.
That's fine.
It's okay. You can make fun of me for being a dumb bitch.
But I'm not going to. Because you're not dumb, you're just forgetful, which is a separate thing.
It's because I have ADHD, which normally would be ableist, but I'm giving you the past. It's part of our friendship.
Great.
Because I am a dumb bitch sometimes. It's not my fault, but I am a dumb bitch.
Okay. All right. You keep telling yourself that. You know, if you say something enough times, you believe that it's true, and then therefore it becomes true.
Maybe that's why I'm a dumb bitch.
Maybe if you stopped calling yourself a dumb bitch, you'd be less dumb bitch.
There's not enough Adderall in the world for me to not be a dumb bitch.
But is there enough kindness in your heart to stop calling yourself a dumb bitch?
No.
Great. All right. Well, we have that on record.
You know I'm an angry old lady at heart.
That's true. So the last notes I have are on progress that we've made since the Malta Declaration.
Okay. And this was in 2013.
2013 was the Malta Declaration. The first country to pass legislation banning non-consensual surgeries on minors was Malta, where the Malta Declaration was given.
Okay.
Which makes sense.
Go Malta.
Yep, Malta was the first country. They did this in 2015. As
So
recently as 10 years ago is the first time anyone anywhere in the world decided it should be illegal to perform non-consensual surgery on babies.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
That is insane. This is a little hope core for everybody who's listening too. I really believe, even though things look bleak right now, I think it's going to be hard to get through, but once the powers that are in power die off and or fall, I think things are going to end up much better for us in coming years.
I really hope so.
Because like things
really
like this
hope so.
was just 10 years ago that this happened somewhere.
Yep.
We're doing this podcast now about this topic and these people. I think the more educated people get on different kinds of people and what their struggles are, and we find a way to elevate everybody, I just think in the long run, things are going to be better. You just got to keep fighting the good fight. You just got to keep going. You just have to.
Yeah.
But it'll turn out for the best because this is no good things come without a fight, I think. So,
It's true. That's speaking the true.
yeah.
Since then, 6 countries have followed suit and passed the same laws.
Fuck yeah. See what I mean?
Exactly 6.
See what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have any idea who they might be? You're going to be really happy about at least one of them.
Is it Portugal?
It is.
Fuck yeah.
Portugal is one of the 6.
Because I'm half Portuguese, for those of you that haven't seen that episode about that. I'm half Portuguese, and my family specifically from the Azores, but they're still a part of Portugal. But that country does have a long history of like colonization and being a part of the Atlantic slave trade, and like there's like dark history there. But Portugal's come a long way. If you look at like their laws and as far as like equality and safety goes, doing pretty good. It makes me proud to be half Portuguese, you know?
Yeah.
We were real shitty in the past and we've come a long way. It's just makes me proud that, you know.
Yep. So a nearby neighbor of Portugal who passed the law was Spain.
That checks out. Spain is actually pretty on point with that shit too. They also have a very long history of being shitty and
Yes, they do. Yeah, I think most of Central and South America would attest to how terrible the Spanish were for a very long time. And I'm sure there's remnants of all that to this day. Mm-hmm. But there's also, some Spanish, celebs who at least seem to be on the right side of history on a lot of things.
Yeah. I think when you come from a place that has a history of doing a lot of bad and your society grows past that, you go out of your way to do good because you understand how ugly it can get when it's in your history, you know?
Yeah. The other two European countries who have passed these laws are Greece and Austria.
Oh, Austria. Mm-hmm. The place that Adolf was from.
Yep, the place.
A lot of people don't know that. He wasn't even fucking German. He was from Austria.
Same as Netanyahu's not from Israel.
Yeah, I know.
He was raised here.
Yeah,
he
imposter.
Went to, school in New York.
He's an imposter.
So ridiculous. And then two South American countries, one of which I think you can probably guess.
Uruguay?
That's the one.
Yeah, Uruguay.
Yep.
Looking at Uruguay, they're killing it. They're like the example everyone should be
Uruguay is the #1 world leader in LGBTQIA rights.
They are also on the political compass, the furthest left and to the libertarian side of any country that I've seen. I looked it up. They're like,
sounds ideal.
Yeah, very ideal. That's how I found out about it. I was like, if we have to flee the U.S., where would be the safest place for us?
Might just end up in Uruguay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they pronounce it Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Yeah, but still.
Uruguay. Great.
We say it all dumb.
Uruguay. Might just end up in Uruguay.
Yeah.
And then the last one's Chile.
Chile. Okay, yeah. Very close to Uruguay. It checks out.
Yep, just right on the opposite coast.
Isn't that where Pedro Pascal is from?
Is he? I don't know.
Or is it Argentina? He's from either Argentina or Chile. I think he's Chilean. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe he's both.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's got two parents.
Yeah.
You know?
Their Spanish down there sounds crazy.
Yeah.
The way they speak Spanish. It's like Italian trying to speak Spanish. It's wild.
Well, we'd figure it out.
Yeah.
I speak enough Spanish that I could pick up a regional dialect.
I don't know. I grew up around Mexicans in California. The only Spanish I know is Mexican Spanish, and it is very...
You'd figure it out.
Yeah.
If we have to end up fleeing.
I don't even speak English that well or properly, so I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's unfortunately the other 206 developed nations have not passed any non-consensual surgery bills. Which you'd think with all this transphobia and all
about how we're apparently performing surgeries on kids against their will,
that somebody would have passed
you
some
would
kind
think
of
newborn
law.
Babies that are born with both sets of genitals would also be included in your fight, but that's not what it's about.
Yeah, and honestly, I would support a law that said minors can't have gender-affirming surgery.
Yeah,
I would fully support that law.
You don't need it at that age anyways.
Like, as long as you allow kids to have the puberty blockers that they're asking for, there's no need for surgery.
Yeah.
They'll decide that later. They don't have to have that as children. It's not good for a growing body to have an invasive surgery like that.
You're still developing.
Yeah.
I think
even if the Republicans pushed for a bill like that, I'd be like, great.
And no one talks about all the cisgender girls that get nose jobs and titty jobs when they're 15, because that's really common.
Right.
Yeah, the hypocrisy of
it's crazy.
All the people in power pisses me off.
It's crazy. Yeah, and I wrote some shit about like the three categories of intersex.
What are the categories?
There's 46XX, which means you have fully female chromosomes and ovaries, but your external genitals are male. This is what Christiane Voling had. There's 46XY, which means you have completely male chromosomes, but your genitals are fully and completely female. And then there is sex chromosome intersex, a broad category with a variety of different things, such as XXY, just a single X, XXYY.
You can just be X?
Yeah, there's people with just a single X chromosome and don't have a second one. There's people who have like 6 chromosomes. It's like XXXXYY. Like there's so many different variations of how this can happen. It's why I didn't write them all down, because I'd literally just be sitting here going XXXXYYYXXYXYYYXXYYYYXXX for like 25 minutes, because there's
so many variations.
It's crazy.
Okay, I have a question about that. So, and I'm gonna sound dumb, but it's okay. So I don't actually know, because like most people, they either XX or XY. Why do you have the two? What do they do? What is the like?
That's a hard question to answer, because we've only had the genome mapped for 35 years. It was in 1990 that we finished mapping the DNA strand. And we still don't know what most of the things do on the DNA strand. Science has basically leapt to conclusions about it. Like, we know that this particular chromosome, the 46th chromosome, or the 23rd chromosome, deals with specifically gender and sex. Like, but they really don't know exactly what it does, because they've said XX means you're female and XY means you're male. But we know that that's not true now.
Yeah.
But we still teach it that way. Like, they still say, well, the Y chromosome is the chromosome that induces male puberty, and the two X's, the absence of a Y chromosome means that you will have a female puberty. But, like, that isn't always true. So there must be some other shit going on that plays into it. And I think the problem with the way that we've been going about it is everything about nature is interconnected. So I think the entire DNA strand has some role to play in how these things are developing. It's like there are these large sections that we can look at and we can draw broad conclusions from like the average thing that happens. But when we decide, well, this means this, we are always wrong. So if we broke it down and said, like, what does the X chromosome do? What does the Y chromosome do? I could list things all day, and there are exceptions to every single thing that I will say.
Because it's more complex than just
Because
that.
it's more because if you zero in on a single gene and try to say this gene is responsible for this thing, you're wrong. You're just wrong. If you say that this gene in conjunction with this other gene that maybe we haven't even looked at yet or discovered yet does this thing, then that's probably true. But we have looked at them individually. The DNA strand, if you laid it out flat, could go to the moon and back like 100 times. There's not enough data. Like, AI might give us some amount of ability to analyze DNA strands better, but it also might draw wild, incorrect conclusions the same way that scientists have, because the AI has been trained on the things that we know. So it's only building off of our bullshit. So unless we fed like a wholly untrained AI every DNA strand in existence and every single possible factor about these people, things that we wouldn't even know to measure, things that we couldn't even perceive about ourselves, things that the DNA is doing that we might not be capable of understanding yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much more complex than just like, well, this chromosome does this. So
we don't really have any like tangible
we've
research
literally
on.
only been studying it for 35 years.
That's wild. I don't think I realized that
The
either.
year I was born is the year they finished mapping the strand, and that's when they started looking at it.
That's crazy. Wow.
I am as old as our knowledge of DNA. Which is crazy. Because there's so much shit I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
That's wild.
yeah.
Do you think our study of the DNA, do you think it's just because of like the progression, the natural progression of human understanding? And or do you think there's a like part of it they don't want us to know too much about gender? Do you think it's a little bit of both? Like, what do you think?
I largely think that in all cases in science, the first people to tackle something, especially in the 1900s, are tackling it from a specific perspective.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people who are working on mapping the DNA strand in the first place were Nazis.
That checks out.
We brought over the Project Paperclip, look it up. We brought over German scientists, Nazi scientists after World War II, and we put them into high-paying positions as doctors, scientists, teachers, lawyers,
The worst people we could do for
politicians.
that.
Yes, we brought them over here. We kept them safe. We helped them hide their identities, and then we let them have families, and we let them teach, and we let them keep pushing their ideas. So, like, part of the purpose of mapping the DNA strand was eugenics. Like, the goal was to be able to eradicate things like Down syndrome, things like intersex people. And so they came at it from this angle of like, we need to figure out which genes we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
So they started looking at genes that seemed to correlate with those conditions. And then they were like, well, this gene seems to cause this thing. But then they'd find someone who had that gene and didn't have that condition. So like even the process of gene editing is already eugenics, where they go in and they're like, well, we'll just take this Down syndrome gene out. And then when the baby's born, it has like the brain is half grown. Because, like, turns out that gene did a lot more than just cause Down syndrome. It was vital towards the growing of the brain, you know? Yeah. We're literally, like, giving a monkey access to the internet.
Yeah.
And just being like, do whatever you want on there. And it's like, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We are playing with God. It's the whole point of the movie Jurassic Park is, like, we think we can do this. Like, Jurassic Park was specifically written in 1993 or 1992 because we had mapped the DNA sequence. And because we had figured out, like, oh, wait, we could use this to, like, clone things. Mm-hmm. And so Michael Crichton was like, oh, I'll write a horror story about that, how incredibly wrong that can go if you attempt to edit incomplete DNA strands by filling in the gaps with other animals. And so, like, the dinosaurs...
And especially when you don't fully understand it.
Exactly.
Like,
and so, like, there's a character in the movie played by our favorite old guy these days. Why am I blanking on his name right now? I'm remembering his character name is Ian Malcolm. His name...
From what?
He's in Jurassic Park. He's the guy...
Oh.
Jeff Goldblum. There it is.
Yeah, I met him one time. He's really nice.
Jeff Goldblum.
He's a cool guy.
His character is basically there to constantly tell all the scientists, you don't know what the fuck you're playing with. You are playing with fire. Nature is going to take over here. You think you can control these animals, but you are creating ancient
giant
beasts
wild animals
who are being born into a world that they're not supposed to be in, and you cannot control for every variable. There's a thing called chaos theory. He's a chaos theorist who believes that, like, things are inevitably going to become more complex as they go. So you might plan for something and have it perfectly planned out and think everything's going to fully work. Mm-hmm. But chaos theory comes in and is like, well, there's all these other new problems that because you did it, now there's some new shit that you couldn't have thought of. So, and that's what that movie is about why playing with our genomes is wrong. And I
hadn't thought of that, but yeah.
And it's just painted on with dinosaurs attacking people because that's a very, it's an easy way for people to connect with that idea.
Yeah, because the idea of getting ripped apart by a T-Rex is horrifying.
Exactly. And so, which is why that movie is the only good one in that whole series, because all the sequels are just like, what about more dinosaurs attacking people?
Yeah, it's like, how do you keep making sequels of that? Yeah.
Right.
You got your point across the first time.
Exactly. Know? But yeah, so I think we decided to map the DNA strand as a eugenics idea. I think DNA is not even the only factor in what makes us what we are. It's just the only thing that we know to look at. Mm. And I think that there's just so much more we need to know before we can try to clone things, because every time we've tried to clone things so far, the being that we clone come back like as a vaguely evil version of whatever it was that was the first version.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always
there's something about repeating a DNA that, like, it's like you're bringing back the same being without its soul.
Yeah.
Or without its spirit, or whatever the thing is that
the thing that makes it.
And it's possible that that's just happening because some of them are being grown in test tubes, and if you're not being
given all of those like love hormones,
in a body, but like there's so many factors, but like we can't possibly know what they are.
Yeah, we
are babies. The amount of knowledge that we have is less than 1% of the possible knowledge, and we're pretending that we're experts, and it's so frustrating.
That's why we have to have less cis men in charge of everything.
Yes, because they love to say
because they're egotistical and think they fucking know everything.
Because as soon as they know the 1%, they know everything that we currently know, they go, I know everything. And it's like, no, you know everything that we know so far.
Yeah.
Multiply that by 100, and then you can tell me you know everything. But we're nowhere near that. Like, we're just not even close.
Yeah.
So, like...
This is why I never did the 23andMe test, because I know it's not like what's the word I'm trying to think of? God, maybe I do have early onset dementia. I forget words left and right. It's not it's like a fear that I have that's not like realistic. What's the word I'm looking for?
A phobia?
No, it's like a fear that's like
It's like the
valid,
definition of phobia.
but it's not valid. It's like an invalid fear. Like it's not realistic to have this fear. What's the word? What is the word?
I feel like that's called a phobia. Like you're describing a phobia.
But it's like the word I'm looking for is like when the fear I have isn't
Is it irrational?
rational. There we go. Thank you. I felt like we just played the Jeopardy, the game of Jeopardy.
What is irrational?
Yeah. It's my fear that the government's going to clone me and one of us will be the evil clone. And it doesn't matter which one it is. I have to fight my clone.
There's a movie we need to watch.
Or what if I'm the evil clone? What if I turn out to be the evil one?
There's a movie called Dual, Dual, meaning like double, but it's a double entendre because it's a world where they clone people, and I forget why or how it happens. Like sometimes it's an accident, but like if it turns out that there's two of you, the law is you have to fight to the death and one of you gets to take over the other one's life. Like
That's kind of like the plot of Us.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is basically the plot of Us.
Because the tethered,
Yep.
at the end, it's implied that the mom and the son were actually the tethered, and they like switch places with the actual.
Was it the son too? I thought the son was
Yeah.
just like afraid because he knew that the mom would switch.
No, because they know. Because like at the end, because you know how the son is kind of weird. He's creepy. He's into like weird, creepy shit in the mask.
I don't know how he would have gotten that way. We'll have to watch it and talk about it. No, we're not going to figure it out right now.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we'll discuss that another
Anyway,
time.
you're welcome, intersex people, for talking about Us and Jurassic
Yeah,
Park
right.
in your episode.
Like these bitches don't know how to stay on topic.
Yeah,
it's
no, we
me.
don't,
I'm the
especially
problem.
at the end of the episode when I run out of notes.
Yeah. Are you
Once-
out of your notes?
I'm done. Yeah, that's
Oh,
all.
okay.
That's what I have on intersex people.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This was
again,
a good episode. I'm glad we did this.
Me too. I'm
Yeah.
glad I did this research because I'm not even going to fight for trans rights anymore. I'm going to fight for intersex
rights, yeah.
and then I'll just get my trans rights.
We should find out if we're intersex so that way we
Honestly,
can really...
I think I might be.
I think I might be
who
too.
knows? I've not been tested.
Yeah.
And
it
like,
would explain...
there's probably a form of intersex that isn't even on here. Like, the fact that there's 1.7% of the population is intersex and 1% of the population so far is trans, I'm like, bitch, if those numbers perfectly align, I swear. And I think, honestly, both of those numbers are higher because, again, most people who are intersex don't know they're intersex.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who are trans have not come out because they're afraid. Because rightfully so.
Yeah,
The
because
whole
look
world
at
is saying
gestures at
that
everything.
we should be put to death for existing.
Yeah. Which is, it's just
So
crazy.
we just won't know until there's actual like legal protections and shit. We're not going to know the actual percentages of anything.
Yeah.
We will talk more about that in our next episode because there's some new stats are showing some interesting stuff.
You always come in clutch with the stats.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. It would make sense if I was intersex, though. It would explain a lot about me and just the way I am physically and just personality-wise and a lot of things.
Yeah.
I don't even work out anymore, and I'm still significantly more muscular in my scrawniest state than most cis women. It would explain a lot, you know?
Would make sense.
My interests and, like,
would
just...
make sense.
I want to know.
Me too. But I also don't want the government to have my DNA. So they
Yeah.
will use it for evil. Even if they don't clone me, like they're gonna use it to try to figure like if they know I'm trans and then they take my DNA, they're gonna add my DNA to a database that they're trying to use to analyze what makes a person trans and then
Wait.
try to eradicate that.
Can't you go to a doctor that won't give your DNA to the government?
No,
No.
because fucking Newsom vetoed the bill that said the federal government's not allowed to subpoena our
No, so
personal
apparently
medical
that
records.
I found out it's SB 59, correct?
I don't know the number of it.
I'm
I just
pretty
remember
sure-
reading that he refused to sign it, which I guess in California means it might still become a law, but he just didn't
No,
sign
it passed. It passed.
It did eventually pass.
Yeah, that one, because I
Okay.
did a video on this the other day and someone corrected me in the comments. SB 59 did pass.
So the federal government is not able to subpoena
They are
our
not able
medical
to,
records?
at least out of California. But since you're trans, maybe wait until this administration's
I'd
out
really
because
like-
you never know
I'd
what'll
really
happen.
like to wait.
Or maybe wait
'cause-
until after the midterms.
'cause
I don't
also,
give a
like,
shit.
The Supreme Court could just overrule that, you know? If it gets,
Yeah.
if someone sues against it and it goes to the Supreme Court, they will overthrow it.
If shit like that starts happening, I'm gonna start being like, let's just be our own country. If we have to fight a war, I don't give a shit. I like genuinely don't care.
Anyway,
'Cause- yeah. Anyways,
final thoughts on the intersex.
I think this is fascinating. I'm gonna go down multiple rabbit holes now and start talking about this more. Yeah. This was all very. Yeah, thanks for doing all the research. You're very good at that.
You're very welcome. I was happy to do so.
Yeah,
I learned a lot.
Yeah, if you're intersex or you don't know if you are and you think you might be, you should find out potentially. Like, if you're trans, maybe be careful because they're trying to give permission for ICE to take your medical records right now. So that could get sketchy, but...
Or if you are intersex and we missed something, send us an email.
Yeah.
ladyandthetranspodcast@gmail.com.
We should interview intersex
I would love to. Do you know any?
No.
We could reach out to the one that we both follow.
Yeah, we could
See if she'd be down.
It would be awesome to talk to her.
It would be dope, you know? If we got our numbers up, I'm sure her follows are a lot higher than ours.
I'll see if she has an email or something I can reach her by.
See.
She's also a beauty pageant queen, so she's kind of got some clout. I don't know if she'll like answer our email. But...
I mean, maybe if we paid her, she'd come on.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could pay guests.
Yeah. Or
most
if
podcasts do.
you are an intersex person that would like to be interviewed on our
if you
podcast.
want to hop on, talk to us, we'd love to. The pets are
they're freaking out,
throwing a fit.
Yeah,
right now because
that's our cue.
Because they're on opposite sides of a door and they'd like to be.
They're
friends.
trying to fight each other.
Yeah,
they want to throw hands right now, and we're stopping them with our podcast.
All right, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks for tuning in.
Hopefully you learned as much as I did.
Yes,
we love you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Lady and the Trans Podcast. Where we believe in science. We don't believe in God. Only science.